Love, a universal and transcendent bond. I speak of love as the foundation of the universe. I even compare love to Einstein's famous equation E=m.c. 2. He defines love as the link that unites human beings, but also the harmony that is reflected in us. I consider that, over time, we learn to transcend our differences by letting life do its work. In this way, love becomes a universal and transcendent bond that allows us to overcome barriers of race, culture, religion or ideology. In short, I invite us to consider love as a force that encompasses all differences and transcends even the highest laws of physics.
Love, always surprising. Love stories always move people. They have an incredible ability to touch our hearts and souls. Whether through books, movies or personal accounts, love stories transport us to a different world, often charged with emotions. The intensity of these stories is simply overwhelming. Love is truly unpredictable. It can be born at any time, anywhere. It can happen even when you don't expect it. And every love story is unique. People are sometimes surprised by the strength of their own love. They may discover a side of themselves they never knew existed, or they may realize that their partner is the one they've always been looking for. But the beauty of love doesn't end there. As with any good story, there are also challenges, obstacles to overcome. It is often these challenges that test the strength of love. Sometimes love triumphs, some couples manage to overcome the difficulties, they find the path to reconciliation and their relationship becomes stronger. Other times, unfortunately, love can rip your heart to shreds. But no matter what the outcome, there is always something magical about love. The feeling of love is able to cross social, cultural and geographical boundaries. This makes love stories much more interesting, as they always contain a unique element of their own. Finally, love always finds its way, even if it is not always easy. When two people love each other, nothing can stop them. Love is simply too strong. Love is a story that never ends, because every day can bring a new surprise or a new challenge. And we will continue to tell these love stories for eternity.
Love, an emotion governed by brain chemistry. Love is a complex emotion that can profoundly affect our lives and relationships. From a scientific point of view, love is a chemical reaction that occurs in the brain, involving several neurotransmitters and brain regions. When we fall in love, our brains release hormones such as dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin, which create feelings of pleasure, happiness, and connection with our partner. However, love can also have negative effects on our reasoning and behavior. By inhibiting the prefrontal cortex via the thalamus, love makes our thinking purely emotional and thus can cause obsessive or impulsive behaviors that can negatively impact our lives. So, while love is a wonderful experience, it is important to understand that our emotions and behavior around love are governed by our brain chemistry. By understanding these processes, we can better understand and manage our feelings and relationships.
Love, an indefinable feeling. Love is a feeling that transcends language and words. How to describe with precision the love we feel for someone? It is an emotion that cannot be confined to a definition, it is lived and felt deep inside. Even if we can express our love with words, they remain limited in their ability to describe the complexity of what we feel. Love can be intense, passionate or of course delicate and fragile. It is an emotion that can transcend the barriers of communication, sometimes breaking through an emotional or psychological impasse. In moments when we are immersed in silence, love can bring a wave of tranquility and peace. Even though there are no words to describe love, it is the feeling that can help us connect with each other, understand each other and find solutions to life's problems. Ultimately, love is like a magnet that draws people together. It is a powerful force that can give us the strength and courage to overcome life's obstacles. Perhaps it is for all these reasons that love is often considered an infinite and inexpressible feeling.
Love, an indescribable emotion. Friendship, passion and desire are intense emotions that can generate great joy. However, love is the emotion that can bring all these at the same time. But how to define love? For some philosophers, to define love is to betray it. Thus, love is sometimes considered an indescribable emotion, to the point that the beloved is said to be nameless. Despite this difficulty in defining it, love is a universal emotion, present in all cultures and religions. It can be considered the essence of life, as it is what drives human beings to seek the affection and companionship of others. However, love can also be a source of jealousy and destruction. Jealousy can arise from the fear of losing the loved one, while destruction can arise from the inability to fully experience this emotion. Despite these risks, love remains one of the most beautiful emotions of humanity. Whether it is passionate love or platonic love, it can bring moments of pure joy and happiness. Love is truly what gives meaning to our lives, a feeling that allows us to rediscover our humanity and sensitivity.
Love, an inexplicable attraction. I talk about the attraction that love can arouse in us, even when the loved one is far away. This attraction seems to be more than a simple stimulation of the erogenous zones, it would be the fruit of a deeper energetic exchange and a spiritual connection. This feeling of attraction is described as a call from the heart, a desire for sweetness and sharing. This intensity is difficult to explain, it is simply felt. Love seems to transcend distance and physical barriers to bring us to think about the loved one, their happiness and their presence. The author also emphasizes the importance of the energetic exchange in the love relationship, which goes beyond simple physical gestures. A simple handshake can be rich in emotions and sensations. In sum, I evoke the complexity of love and its attraction, which often exceeds our understanding and leads us to feel the strongest emotions in an inexplicable way.
Love, an innate feeling or a social construction. This text seems to address two different themes, physics and love. Yet they are linked, because everything in the universe follows strict physical laws, including human relationships. The author suggests that the idea that everything has its place in the universe stems from physics. In other words, everything that exists on this planet has a purpose and a reason to exist, borrowing the laws of physics to move through the cosmos. However, the author also explores the social aspect of love. He questions the idea that love must be earned and the way it is often used in capitalist society. Indeed, love is something that is supposed to be free and unrestricted, but it can be conditioned by social factors such as money, social status, physical beauty, etc. He goes on to say that love is a feeling that works both ways, indicating that love and affection must be mutual to be truly effective in a relationship. For example, for a love relationship to be healthy, it is crucial that both partners love and respect each other. Finally, the author concludes by suggesting that love is a natural expression of life itself. In other words, he argues that love is not only a social construct, but that it also has biological and emotional roots that go back thousands of years of human evolution.
Love, an opening towards generosity. In this short text, the author talks about the relationship between love and the ability to give. According to him, love is manifested by opening our hands to offer to others, while anger and fear tend to make us close our fists and keep to ourselves. Love is therefore presented as a force that drives generosity, making us ready to give everything we have. This idea is in contrast to fear, which causes us to hold back, to keep our good for ourselves. In summary, I invite us to adopt an attitude of openness and generosity towards those we love, rather than being guided by fear and anger. In this way, by opening our hands with love, we can help make the world a better place. Love, between science and mystery. The text explores the concept of love, asking why we fall in love. Although science provides some answers, love remains a mystery that escapes a complete explanation. The basal ganglia, together with oxytocin and dopamine, seem to play a role in the feeling of love. However, this does not explain everything. In the end, love could simply be explained by a deep desire that resides in each of us. Thus, I stress that love is partly a biological phenomenon that can be explained by the brain mechanisms involved. However, it also highlights the mysterious side of love, which transcends current scientific knowledge. Indeed, love is difficult to define and explain with words, because it involves intense emotions and inexplicable sensations. In sum, the text proposes a reflection on love as a complex and multiform phenomenon. It shows that although science can shed light on certain aspects of love, it remains a mystery that cannot be completely elucidated.
Love, freedom and wisdom. The creation of anything is often associated with love. Love is the force that drives beings to create beautiful and useful things. Love is the engine of inspiration and creativity. When we love, we give the best of ourselves to meet the needs of the loved one. It is with love that the universe was created. However, in order to attain freedom, man must free himself from desire. Desire is an impulse that pushes us to want to possess, to be envious or jealous. Freedom, on the other hand, implies an emancipation from these desires that clutter our minds. To be free, one must be at peace with oneself, without seeking to possess anything else. Love, on the other hand, is free, unconditional, and cannot be thought of as an exchange in the strict sense. It is the expression of a benevolence, a listening, an attention brought to the other. However, for it to remain free and not become a burden, it must be accompanied by wisdom. Wisdom is the art of being at peace with oneself and with others. It is a state of mind that allows us to step back and understand the world around us. In conclusion, love, freedom and wisdom are three inseparable qualities. Love is the engine of creation, freedom is the key to our personal fulfillment, but it is wisdom that allows us to keep them in balance to live in harmony with ourselves and with others.
Love, intimacy and the irony of self-knowledge. I raise a question that may seem paradoxical. Can one really know oneself, when love consists in accepting the unknown? Indeed, the search for oneself may seem to be a noble and necessary quest. But at the same time, love is an encounter with the other, with all that it can bring of mysterious, unexpected and unpredictable. True intimacy is not built on the exhaustive knowledge of the other, but on the capacity to accept the unknown part that exists in each person. It is this openness to the other, confident despite the risk, that creates the miracle of intimacy. The author thus proposes a reflection on the importance of love in our lives and in the world. It is through loving action that we can create authentic connections with those around us. This approach is not based on knowledge, but on trust and openness. In sum, self-knowledge may seem like a goal to be achieved, but it must be put in perspective with the need for love and intimacy. The irony is that we can only truly know ourselves if we are able to open ourselves to the other.
Love, misery and serenity. I discuss the relationship between love, misery and serenity. He states that when love touches misery, it becomes mercy. This implies that love can bring compassion and help to those who suffer in difficult conditions. The author also talks about the notion of unity that connects us all. He emphasizes that despite our differences, we are all connected to each other, and that this connection should encourage us to live in peace and harmony. I highlight the relationship between fear and violence. The author explains that violence is often the result of fear. In order to achieve serenity, it is therefore important to overcome our fears and to cultivate trust in ourselves and in others. Finally, the author maintains that serenity is necessary to love freely. Trust in oneself and in others allows one to open one's heart to love without fear or hesitation. In conclusion, this text offers a reflection on how love, misery, and serenity are connected, and how they can help create a more harmonious and peaceful society. Love, much more than emotion. Love is without a doubt one of the most intense feelings that exists. But the incredible thing is that we often associate love with emotion. However, love is much more than that. In reality, emotion is only a small part of the big love. Love encompasses all facets of our existence. It goes far beyond songs and passion. It is present in every little gesture of affection we have for our family, for our friends, for our colleagues and of course for our life partner. Love is what allows us to be forgiving, understanding, patient and caring towards others. It is the source of our joy, gratitude and personal fulfillment. It is able to transcend all cultural, religious and social differences and unite us in a common sense of harmony and peace. In the end, love is a deep feeling that animates us day after day and gives meaning to our lives. It is much more than an emotion because it is the very source of our energy and inspiration. So let's not look for love only in the moments of passion and thrill, but rather in every little gesture of friendship, support and commitment we have towards others. Loving oneself, an act of love towards oneself and towards the universe. It is often easier to love others than to love ourselves. However, Loving yourself is essential to lead a fulfilling and happy life. The first act of love towards oneself is to take care of one's body, because this physical envelope accompanies us throughout our life. By taking care of your body, you take care of your mind and soul as well. The Buddhist master Thich Nhat Hanh proposes a different approach to love oneself. He invites us to perceive that the universe is already within us. We are all connected to a universal energy which enlightens us and guides us. By connecting to this energy, we learn to love ourselves as part of the universe. Loving yourself means accepting yourself as you are, with your qualities and faults, without judging yourself. It also means taking care of your emotional well-being, your thoughts and your emotions, by cultivating kindness towards yourself. By loving ourselves, we free ourselves from the social pressure that often pushes us to meet the expectations of others to the detriment of our own needs. We learn to listen to ourselves, to respect ourselves, and to give ourselves the means to realize our dreams and aspirations. In conclusion, loving yourself is an act of love towards yourself, but also towards the universe that surrounds you. By connecting to this universal energy, we find the necessary strength to accept ourselves as we are and live our lives with love and kindness towards ourselves.
Loving yourself, the key to authentic love. I emphasize the importance of loving oneself in order to experience an authentic love relationship. It reminds us that love should not be guided by a projection of desire for the other person, but rather by a feeling of self-love. Loving oneself means being at peace with one's loneliness and offering oneself inner tenderness. It involves taking care of one's thoughts by recognizing one's own beauty and choosing activities and relationships that bring pleasure. In summary, finding authentic love begins with cultivating self-love, valuing one's own existence and making choices that honor one's needs and desires. It is important to remember that happiness does not necessarily come from big things, but often from small things, such as enjoying a quiet moment or sharing a pleasant moment with someone we care about.
Making a difficult choice, the balance between time and emotion. Time and emotion are two key elements in our lives. However, we often have to make a choice that requires us to sacrifice one or the other. It is a dilemma that can be difficult to overcome. Making a choice in time may seem rational and practical. It is normal to want to plan and organize your life to achieve your goals. But what happens when those choices affect our emotional well-being and relationships? We risk losing our connection with those we love, as well as our dreams and aspirations. Similarly, emotional connection is equally important. The support and presence of the people who matter to us keeps us moving forward in life. But when we let our emotions drive our decisions, we can lack planning and accountability. This puts us at risk for lost opportunities, isolation and lack of financial support. It is therefore crucial to find balance in our choices. We must find a way to balance our aspirations with our emotions, while ensuring that we do not sacrifice one important facet of our lives for the other. By keeping this balance in mind, we will be able to build solid and lasting projects, welcome new challenges with confidence and fulfillment, while remaining emotionally connected to the people who are important to us.
Marguerite Kardos, a linguist who proposes an original approach to the test of life. Marguerite Kardos is a researcher in linguistics who offers us an original vision of the ordeal of life in a conference given at the Open University. This meeting, entitled Que Faire, allows us to discover how a trial can be transformed into a love letter. According to Marguerite Kardos, a trial is a gift that life gives us to get to know ourselves better. Rather than seeing it as a trial to be overcome at all costs, the linguist invites us to consider it as an opportunity to meet ourselves. By reflecting on our trials, we can better understand who we are, what we want, what is important to us in life. In short, we can discover our own love letter, a message that life sends us to help us grow and become stronger. This approach to life's trials invites us to take a more positive view of the difficult situations we may encounter. It encourages us to consider them as opportunities for growth, rather than as obstacles to our happiness.
Mathematics for the sustainability of relationships. By using mathematical tools and statistical techniques, it is now possible to predict the potential durability of a couple. New generations are more likely to maintain a long-term relationship by carefully monitoring their mutual attraction and emotional behavior. Mathematics and statistics allow us to take into account several factors that influence the durability of a relationship, including the initial attraction between partners, communication, common interests, attitudes towards conflict, stress management, and emotional reactions. By monitoring these factors, partners can improve their compatibility and foster a positive and lasting relationship. For example, by working on their communication and emotional management, they can prevent conflict and strengthen their relationship. In sum, the use of mathematical and statistical analysis can help identify strengths and areas of risk in a romantic relationship, and thus improve the chances of long-term success.
Meditation on opening the heart to love. Introduction. Meditation is a practice that can help us find a state of inner peace and serenity. This meditation will focus on love, in particular on opening our hearts to this positive energy. Inspired by the teachings of Osho, this meditation invites you to be touched by love like an unexpected bolt of lightning. Body text. For this meditation, find a quiet place where you will not be disturbed. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths to relax. Now visualize electrical energy running up and down your body, then up and down, as if you were struck by lightning. Now imagine that this electrical energy is a symbol of love. Feel this energy settle in your heart and illuminate it with a bright, warm light. Imagine that this light spreads throughout your entire body, illuminating every part of your body. Take a deep breath and say to yourself, I am open to love. My heart is full of love. I am ready to receive love and give it freely. Feel this energy of love emerging within you and imagine sending it beyond your physical boundaries. Visualize yourself embracing everyone you love, every member of your family, your friends, your colleagues, even the strangers you meet every day. Send them love, joy, peace, and happiness. If negative thoughts arise, simply acknowledge them, but do not try to analyze them. Return to your meditation, focus on your breath and imagine your heart filled with love. Conclusion. When you feel that you have finished your meditation, take a few deep breaths and open your eyes. Remember that feeling of electric energy and love flowing through your body, and how your heart opened to receive and give it. You can use this meditation anytime you feel the need to connect to love and open yourself to it.
Meditation to connect to your heart and guide you through life. In this meditation, we will learn to use our heart as our inner guide by making the sound Om, a mantra that means yes to life, yes to love, yes to the universe. Start by finding a quiet, comfortable place to sit. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths to relax. Take a moment to feel your heart and visualize it as a center of bright, warm light in your chest. Now begin to make the Om sound. Start slowly and gradually increase the volume. Let the sound vibrate through your body and feel its resonance in your heart. Concentrate on the vibrations of your heart and listen to the messages it sends you. When you make the Om sound, you stimulate your heart and connect to the energy of the universe. Use this practice as a guidance tool. When you have difficult decisions to make in your life, connect to your heart and listen to its response. The heart is often wiser than our mind, it knows what is right for us. Practice this meditation regularly to strengthen your connection with your heart. This will help you find inner peace and live in harmony with yourself and the world around you. Remember, by saying yes to life, love, and the universe, you open yourself to all the possibilities that life has to offer.
Meditation to radiate universal love. In this meditation, we are invited to connect with two key elements of the universe, earth and heaven, in order to radiate universal love. We begin by focusing our attention on our breath and becoming aware of our body. Then we imagine roots coming out of our feet and going deep into the earth, connecting us to its strength and stability. Then we turn our attention to the sky, imagining a beam of light passing through our body, connecting us to an infinite source of pure energy. We let ourselves be bathed in this light, allowing the mind to calm down and the consciousness to expand. With this connection established between earth and heaven, we are now ready to radiate the love of a sun. We imagine our heart opening like a flower, spreading its warmth and light in all directions. We can imagine this universal love as a circle that grows in intensity, touching all beings and things in its path. As our practice continues, we feel our consciousness growing in peace and serenity. We can smile inwardly, knowing that we are an integral part of the universe, connected to all its elements. This meditation can also remind us of the Taoist practice of twin hearts, where two people sit face to face in silence, focusing on their breath, heart and soul to establish a deep and powerful connection. Whether we practice alone or with a partner, we can feel connected and united in the universal fabric of love.
Meera, the avatar who advocates unconditional love. Meera is an important spiritual figure in Hinduism. She is considered an avatar, meaning that she has a higher spiritual calling. But for Meera, the main thing is more important. In her teachings, Meera invites us not to judge the body, to accept and love our family in a natural way, without preference or condition. She advocates unconditional love and simplicity. According to her, every human being deserves love and respect, regardless of their appearance, caste or religion. Meera is therefore an embodiment of human equality and tolerance, in opposition to divisions and prejudices. In short, Meera represents a peaceful and benevolent vision of the world, centered on the love and unity of all human beings. Her message is timeless and universally applicable, regardless of our culture or faith. Meetings as a mirror of the soul. When we meet a person, we are actually confronted with an image of ourselves. This image reflects our state of mind and our beliefs, and is intended to allow us to get rid of our judgments and to find the purity of childhood. Indeed, we tend to make judgments about others based on our own experiences and prejudices. These judgments are often the result of our past experiences, our limiting beliefs and our fears. These judgments prevent us from seeing the other person as he or she really is, from forming an authentic relationship and from experiencing unconditional love. It is by changing our perception of the past and remaining open to the reality of the present that we can regain this lost innocence. Indeed, our encounters allow us to confront our fears, our doubts and our certainties, and to go beyond them to learn to love ourselves unconditionally. In the end, the encounters we have throughout our lives are invaluable. They offer us the opportunity to know and love ourselves better, while at the same time allowing us to discover the beauty of others and of life itself.
Mental demands, when our unconscious creates conditions. Human beings are often confronted with demands, expectations and wishes that condition the course of their lives. But what happens when these demands are created by parts of us that are at odds with our true being? Our unconscious, often knowingly manipulated by our inner chatter, can push us to seek the attention or affection of others by creating conditions that have nothing to do with our reality. These conditional thoughts can easily take over our minds and make us believe that if a person really loves us, they must give us flowers or meet some other requirements. But this often has nothing to do with the reality of love and can even lead to disillusionment when we realize that these conditions are not met. It is therefore important to be aware of these mental demands, to recognize them for what they are, and to seek to dispel them by accepting our true being and learning to love ourselves as we are. This will allow us to develop more authentic relationships based on mutual love and understanding, rather than on conditions that are often irrational and out of touch with reality.
Mimicry in the learning of love. Love is a complex feeling that is learned from childhood through mimicry. We unconsciously absorb the behaviors and ways of loving from those around us. Unfortunately, this can lead to automatic patterns of action and reaction that can limit our love life. This is where the clean method comes in as an alternative to hypnosis. It allows us to feel the blockages that manifest themselves in our bodies and through symbolism. By identifying these limitations, we can free ourselves from our automated reaction behaviors that prevent us from thriving in our love life. The clean method is a holistic approach that combines different techniques to help you connect with your body and mind in a safe and caring environment. By working with a therapist,
you can learn to identify and work with your emotional blocks, improve your interpersonal communication, enhance your self-esteem, and create healthy and fulfilling relationships. In short, mimicry is a natural process but one that can limit our being. The clean method therefore offers an alternative to better understand the barriers that limit us in our love journey and allows us to reinvent our love relationships to better meet our fulfillment.
Misogyny as a consequence of an excessive representation of the male archetype. I discuss how excessive representation of the male archetype can lead to misogyny in a person. Misogyny is seen here as a form of racism, as it involves discrimination against an individual or group on the basis of their gender. I am highlighting the fact that misogyny is a psychological deviance caused by a repression of emotions that reduce the individual's capacity for empathy. The male archetype is a concept that refers to the characteristics traditionally associated with men, such as strength, competence, independence, and rationality. A person who has integrated this archetype excessively may become misogynistic, meaning that he or she may develop a strong aversion to women in general. This aversion can manifest itself in various forms, such as verbal or physical abuse, discrimination, humiliation, etc. Misogyny is considered here to be a form of racism, as it involves discrimination against a group of individuals on the basis of their gender. Like racism, it is based on stereotypes, prejudices, and false beliefs. It can also cause psychological, social, and physical harm to women who are victims. The repression of emotions is seen as the underlying cause of misogyny. Individuals who have integrated the masculine archetype excessively may be afraid to show their emotions, as this may be seen as a sign of weakness. This fear can lead to repression of emotions, which reduces the individual's capacity for empathy. By repressing one's own emotions, the individual may find it difficult to understand the emotions of others and put themselves in their shoes. In conclusion, I stress the importance of understanding the causes of misogyny. By recognizing that excessive representation of the male archetype can lead to misogyny, we can work to promote more balanced gender models and help individuals develop empathy and the ability to understand the emotions of others.
Money and emotionality. I emphasize the idea that in order to make a good decision, we must be devoid of emotion. Indeed, emotion can bias our reasoning. However, money often evokes many emotions and feelings, whether it be a projection of abundance or lack. These emotions related to money can be very similar to those related to love, as they both evoke a desire. When we want to achieve a financial goal, it can be tempting to let these emotions override our rationality. But peace of mind is essential to making the right financial decisions. It is therefore important to manage our emotions related to money in order to better understand them and not let them interfere with our choices. Good financial management requires an objective analysis of situations in order to make the right decisions in the long term.
Money, source of happiness or social inequality? The debate about money and its relationship to happiness is recurrent in our society. Some say that money makes happiness, while others think that happiness cannot be bought. In reality, it is a choice that can be split 50-50. On social networks, the subject of money and its influence on happiness is regularly raised. Indeed, money is considered as the main source of social inequality between men and women. It can be noted that when one has enough money to provide for one's basic needs and those of one's family, it is easier to be happy. However, once basic needs are met, the relationship between money and happiness can become more complex. Money can be a source of stress, as the more you have, the more you fear losing it. It can also create distance between people, as money can create social inequalities. People with less money can feel excluded or inferior, which can have an impact on their well-being. In conclusion, money can contribute to happiness, but it is not the only source of satisfaction. It is important to focus on the goals that are important to us and to seek positive and fulfilling relationships with others, regardless of their financial situation.
Musical discovery, the soundtrack of What Are We Doing with Love? I recently had a little musical crush on the soundtrack of the film Qu'est-ce, qu'on, fait de l'amour. Composed by Vincent Courtois and Palm for the animated film Ernest and Celestine, The Trip to Charabi. This soundtrack has bewitched me and transported me in a poetic and enchanting universe. The collaboration between Vincent Courtois and Palm could only give an incredible result since the two musicians knew perfectly how to work together to create a particular and captivating atmosphere. The music of the soundtrack is soft and melodious with string and piano sounds to give a romantic and intimate touch. I particularly fell in love with the song In the Starry Sky performed by Apple, which is a wonderful ode to sublime love. This song allows us to discover the suave and moving voice of the young artist. While listening to this soundtrack, I felt transported in an imaginary and fairy world. I highly recommend this soundtrack to all lovers of poetic and soft music. It is ideal to relax and let yourself be carried away by a soothing and bewitching atmosphere. A big thank you to Vincent Courtois and Palm for this wonderful musical creation.
Myth of male virility and stigmatization of female reproductive organs. In her book, Delphine Gardy analyzes the impact of the myth of male virility throughout history on the social perception of female reproductive organs. Indeed, for centuries, virility has been associated with domination, power and control. This conception has contributed to an excessive valorization of the male sexual organ and a stigmatization of the female reproductive organ. As a result, female reproductive organs have been relegated to a subordinate status, considered dirty, unclean and obscene. This perception has led to a series of prejudices, beliefs and social practices that have affected women's lives throughout history. Menstruation, pregnancy or childbirth have been stigmatized and considered sources of shame, pain or decay. Moreover, this stigmatization has been reinforced by the great monotheistic religions which have condemned sexual practices outside of marriage and in particular the frequentation of prostitutes. The latter have been stigmatized and their bodies reduced to objects, gallows animals. Thus, the myth of male virility has shaped the history of our societies by setting up the female reproductive organs as signs of a certain decay, relegating them to the rank of impure, obscene or useless organs. This perception has been a source of inequality and discrimination against women and has contributed to their domination and exploitation in many areas of social life.
Nathalie Lefèvre explores the evolution of the modern couple in her books. Lilu's interview with Nathalie Lefèvre, author of the book Célibataire and Couple and J'ai décidé de m'épouser, I've decided to marry, highlights the evolution of the modern couple and its commitments to personal fulfillment. Nathalie Lefèvre explains that the modern couple has become aware of the importance of personal fulfillment. Thus, the couple's commitments have become personal choices, rather than mere social obligations. It is this freedom of choice that allows the couple to be happier, because it is based on love and not on social pressure. This evolution is explored in Nathalie's books, which show that the modern couple can be both single and in a relationship. She encourages couples to explore new ways of living their love according to their personalities and situations. In conclusion, the interview with Nathalie Lefèvre highlights the evolution of the modern couple where commitments are more free and personal and where personal fulfillment is the key to a happy love life. Nathalie encourages couples to explore new ways of living their love and commitment according to their personal choices. Natural Love, elevated to the rank of divinity by Sri Siddharameshwar Maharaj. Natural love, according to the teachings of Sri Siddharameshwar Maharaj, is a concept that transcends the limits of human reason. It is the engine of life, a source that flows within each of us and retains its unalterable purity, no matter how harsh the human condition. This revolutionary idea has inspired poets and writers who have celebrated natural love as a divinity in itself. The verses that can be heard today urge listeners to embrace this love that is omnipresent and not dependent on the desires of individuals. This poem invites everyone to embrace natural love, an energy that guides us on our life path and allows us to achieve emotional and spiritual fulfillment. Natural love is, in short, a path to light and wisdom.
Natural selection versus beauty criteria, the halo effect in question. Natural selection is a theory proposed by Darwin to explain how the organisms most adapted to their environment survive and reproduce, while the least adapted do not. This selection is mainly based on the survival instinct, which favors the strongest individuals. However, in the modern world, this trend has been reversed. Instead of focusing on physical or intellectual strength, the criteria of beauty and attractiveness have taken over. This can be explained in part by the halo effect, a cognitive bias that consists in generalizing the positive or negative evaluation of a person or an object to its other characteristics. For example, if a person is considered beautiful, he or she may be perceived as more intelligent, more sympathetic, more competent, etc. This can influence our choice of partners, friends, or even co-workers. However, the halo effect can also lead to errors of judgment. A person who is judged to be good-looking can be considered more reliable or honest, even if this has not been proven. Similarly, a person who is considered less attractive may be underestimated or ignored, even if he or she has important qualities. In summary, natural selection based on survival instinct has been replaced in our modern world by a criterion of beauty, influenced by the halo effect. Although this tendency is not necessarily the most rational or intelligible, it remains present in our contemporary society.
Non-verbal hypnosis, an effective alternative for rapid change. Non-verbal hypnosis is a technique that uses sensations and perceptions to induce altered states of consciousness. It is based on the internalization of the senses to provoke rapid and effective psychological transformations. Unlike verbal hypnosis, which uses speech to guide the patient into a trance state, non-verbal hypnosis focuses on visual, auditory, and kinesthetic signals that are perceived by the body. It relies on non-verbal communication to engage the patient in a process of self-hypnosis. Non-verbal hypnosis can be used to treat disorders such as anxiety, depression, phobias, and addictions. It can also be used to strengthen mental abilities such as self-confidence, creativity, or memory. The technique is effective because it taps into the power of the unconscious mind and allows quick access to the resources hidden in our minds. The therapist guides the patient into a state of deep relaxation and then uses non-verbal cues to bring about changes in behavior. In conclusion, non-verbal hypnosis is an effective alternative to quickly change behavior and become the best version of yourself. It allows to access unconscious resources and to provoke rapid and lasting psychological transformations.
Of immortal love, an investigation into the origin of the idea that love should last until death and beyond. Love is one of the most powerful and intense emotions we can feel. For thousands of years, this emotion has fascinated human beings and inspired incredible love stories. But where did this idea that love should last until death and even beyond come from? In this investigation, we will dive into the history of some of the greatest loves of all time. We will explore couples who loved each other with passion and intensity, couples whose love became legendary after their death. We will discover that this idea of immortal love goes back to ancient times. The ancient Greeks created myths and legends around famous couples, such as Orpheus and Eurydice and Pygmalion and Galatea, whose love was so powerful that it survived even beyond death. In the following centuries, this idea has been taken up and reinvented by poets, writers, and artists. We will discover the stories of Shakespeare and his famous lovers, Romeo and Juliet, as well as the poems of Ronsard dedicated to his beloved Helen of Sergeras. We will also delve into the history of medieval courtly love, which inspired songs and poems dedicated to divine love and the beloved woman. We will study the legends around Tristan and Iseult, whose love has continued to cross generations. Finally, we will explore the legendary couples of more recent history, such as Napoleon and Josephine, whose passionate and tumultuous love has spanned the ages. In this survey, we will discover how the idea of immortal love has become part of our culture, inspiring unforgettable love stories that continue to touch us today.
On the importance of living in consciousness to be authentic. I emphasize the importance of how we look at life and the emotions we experience. Some people choose to see the beauty of life, while others prefer to see it as it is. Either way, maintaining a conscious view of reality is crucial to being authentic. I also discuss the example of wanting to give love to someone you don't really like. In this situation, it is important to stay true to one's emotions and not try to mask one's true opinion with falsity. The solution lies in awareness, that is, being fully aware of one's emotions and the situations around us. By being aware, we avoid lying to ourselves or to others, and we can thus act with authenticity. In short, I invite us to be in tune with our emotions, to welcome them without judging them, and to act accordingly, remaining true to our true nature. This will allow us to live an authentic and fulfilling life.
On the importance of love for oneself in order to love others. Some people consider love for oneself to be a form of selfishness, but this could not be further from the truth. In reality, there are two ways to view love, love for self and love for others. The two are closely related and cannot exist without each other. Love for oneself is important because it allows us to discover who we really are as individuals and to understand our desires, aspirations and needs. By learning to love ourselves, we can learn to be happy on our own and not depend on others for fulfillment. However, it is important to remember that self-love should not be confused with selfishness. It is important to find a balance between caring for oneself and caring for others. Indeed, love for others is also essential for our well-being. Love for others makes us discover facets of ourselves that we did not know. It is by loving someone that we discover ourselves more deeply. By seeing the qualities and imperfections of the other person, we can better understand our own qualities and imperfections. In conclusion, it is important to cultivate love for oneself because it allows us to know ourselves better and to make informed decisions. However, love for the other is also essential for our mental and emotional well-being. The two forms of love are not mutually exclusive, but rather complementary.
Osho and love as a source of vitality. Osho is a spiritual master who has fascinated millions of people around the world. His vision of love has been particularly valued by his disciples who consider this emotion as a true food for the soul. According to Osho, love is effortless. It is a natural and spontaneous emotion that does not require complex thoughts or specific behaviors to manifest. Love is therefore accessible to everyone, regardless of age, gender, culture, or social status. The meditative practices proposed by Osho aim to encourage the emergence of love in the lives of his disciples. These practices have been designed to enable everyone to develop their ability to feel and express this emotion in their daily lives. The effect of Osho's meditative practices on the vitality of the aura is incredibly beneficial. The aura is an energy field that surrounds the physical body and can be affected positively or negatively by our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Love is an emotion that nourishes the aura and gives it vital space, charging it with beneficial energy. In short, Osho considers love to be a vital element for our emotional and physical well-being. He invites us to cultivate and develop it in order to nourish our soul and our entire being.
Passion, a source of unreason. Passion is an intense and often powerful emotion that can lead us to acts that we will regret. It can make us blind to reality and make us act in an uncontrollable way. It creates a deep obsession in inaccessible reason, which makes it difficult to take a step back or to reflect. When passion intensifies, it creates a desire so strong that we start to want everything or nothing, making us neglect or even deny all the consequences or dangers that result from our actions. This mad desire can then push us towards regrettable actions. Thus, passion is often associated with insanity, as it can cause us to lose all rationality and discernment about what is right or wrong. It is therefore essential to keep some control over our emotions to avoid falling into this dangerous trap.
Patience and techniques to maintain love. I talk about different strategies to maintain love in a relationship. First, I discuss the Kama Sutra, an ancient work that offers techniques to rekindle the flame of love and maintain intimacy in a relationship. These daily gestures require patience and willpower to be put into practice, but can give concrete results. Then, the author Frederick Boyer is mentioned. He tells the story of the world and explains how love has evolved over the centuries. Understanding the complexities of love could help to better live it and maintain it in a relationship. Finally, I also point out that sometimes love can leave us, but that can lead to a better understanding and appreciation of it. Ultimately, this is a call to love with more awareness and patience, using techniques and keeping a deep understanding of love.
Pericardial release in Chinese medicine to heal emotional wounds. In Chinese medicine, the pericardium, also known as the heart master, is a membrane that surrounds and protects the heart. According to this discipline, each organ is considered a living being in its own right with its own functions and mechanisms. The pericardium is no exception to this rule, and its role is to protect the heart from emotional shocks. Indeed, in Chinese medicine, emotional injuries can disturb the balance of the body and cause various physical and psychological symptoms. Emotional shocks can create blockages in the energy meridians, which can lead to stagnation of vital energy and disrupt the functioning of the organs. To free the pericardium and allow the heart to regain its balance, Chinese medicine offers several techniques. Gratitude is a common practice to help free the pericardium. By expressing gratitude for the good things in life, one can allow energy to flow freely through the body and dissolve emotional blockages. Movement is also an important practice for releasing the pericardium. In Chinese medicine, the body and mind are closely linked, and movement can help release repressed emotions that have crystallized in the body. Movement techniques such as Qigong and Tai Chi can help strengthen vital energy and stimulate energy meridians to restore emotional balance. In conclusion, pericardial release in Chinese medicine is an important practice for healing emotional wounds. Through gratitude and movement, we can bring awareness to our healing and restore emotional and energetic balance to our bodies.
Plum, village of the transcendence of the spirit thanks to Thich Nhat Hanh. The village of Plum is a famous place, especially since the release of the movie Journey in Mindfulness. Indeed, this movie has highlighted the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh, famous author of the book Taking Care of the Inner Child, who has been living in this village for many years. What makes Plum special is its ability to literally transcend minds. The village seems to bathe in an atmosphere of peace and serenity, conducive to meditation and reflection. The traditional thatched houses and flower gardens contribute to this soothing atmosphere. Thich Nhat Hanh is a world-renowned Vietnamese Buddhist monk. He is considered one of the great masters of mindfulness. In his book Taking Care of the Inner Child, he invites everyone to take care of their own inner self, to learn to love and respect themselves. He advocates the use of breathing as a way to refocus and find inner peace. In Plum Village, Thich Nhat Hanh leads meditation retreats and mindfulness sessions. Visitors can participate to discover or deepen the meditation practices, but also to enjoy the beauty of the village and the surrounding nature. All in all, Plum is a unique place where transcendence of the mind is possible thanks to the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh and the atmosphere of peace and serenity that prevails. An inspiring place to learn to take care of yourself and connect to your own inner self.
Polyamorous marriage, a new and evolving lifestyle. The topic of polyamorous marriage is indeed taboo and often raises controversy and debate. With approximately 500,000 polyamorous people in the United States, the practice is steadily increasing. This lifestyle was born after the hippie generation that advocated open-mindedness and new forms of love expression. However, the United States also has a strong tradition of conservative religious culture that encourages chastity before marriage. According to the data, more than 50% of Americans remain chaste until they are married, creating a disparity between traditional sexual practices and those of polyamorous marriage enthusiasts. Despite the debate and controversy, polyamorous marriage continues to evolve and be practiced in today's society. People are increasingly looking to explore new ways of loving and experiencing relationships. It remains to be seen how this practice will be perceived and accepted in the years to come.
Polyamory, a reflection on the complexity of love relationships. Polyamory, this practice which consists in having several love relationships simultaneously with the agreement of all the partners, raises many questions. If couple relationships are already often difficult to manage because of their complexity, how can we imagine managing several relationships simultaneously and in an equitable way? Indeed, polyamory raises questions about the satisfaction of the emotional needs of all partners. Is it possible to meet the love and emotional needs of several people at the same time in an equitable and satisfactory way? How to manage the conflicts that can arise around unconscious jealousy, fear of loneliness, or emotional dependence. Polyamory invites a deep reflection on the nature of love relationships and human needs in terms of affection. It also raises the question of how to manage conflicts and emotions, as such a practice requires a great deal of openness, clear and honest communication, as well as work on oneself to understand one's own needs and limits. Polyamory is not a simple practice, but it is first and foremost an invitation to see relationships differently and to rethink our vision of love and commitment. Ultimately, it can also be a way to live a fulfilling love life and find meaning in our relationships, through the acceptance of the diversity of human needs and ways to meet them.